Uncle Billy here. When I was in the biker club, the Christian bikers, a bunch of ex-outlaws, we were still pretty ornery. We didn't drink or take drugs or uh, engage in pimping or racketeering or anything. I never did that when I was outlaw. Some people did, but we had a lot of fun. One thing about bikers, one thing about outcasts, some of them do what you could only term as mass behavioral experiments on people. Uh, in old school biker terminology, it's show in class. You freak the people out and study their reaction. It's interesting. It really is. Normal people don't do that, very much. You get your information from television about your culture. It's not always accurate, but if you're sharp, you can figure some things out. One thing we did one time, we had a prospect who lived in a Tony apartment building, and he was always having a hard time, because the management was getting on him for his motorcycle and writing him up over all kinds of petty infractions, and they were harassing him. This was a bunch of up and coming managers, in Fuglyville, a suburb of Houston. And well, I didn't know what was going on. Nobody knew what was going on. The president did it. He's pretty sharp guy. We were going to help him. Well, we were going to visit him, is what we do, but he had a plan. We got there. He might have just thought of it when we got there. It might have been totally spontaneous, but anyway. We showed up, we all went in his apartment, we hung out a while, and then Prez gets up and says, I'll just have to give everybody nicknames to cover for them, Cheap, Uncle Cheap. Uncle Cheap, you got a sheet? Go get a sheet out of your closet. Okay, it's a prospect. He had to do it. He went and okay, I'm having trouble with the lighting again. One moment. He went and got a sheet, laid it down on the floor, spread it out like he was told. And then we had this tall, skinny guy, we called him Bobs. Bobs laid down in the sheet, and we rolled him up in it. And then a bunch of us grabbed it like pallbearers and opened the door. They were having a pool party outside at that time. There were, I had to have been 40 or 50 people there, sunbathing and swimming, and they were all like real yuppies. This is the 80s, okay? They weren't they weren't our kind of people. Well, nothing wrong with that. I don't have anything against them, but they didn't like us. I'm sure they were harassing my friend there, the prospect, and my brother. And so we walked out with Bob's rolled up in a sheet, stone face. We figured out then what we're doing. Okay, nobody laughed. We walked out like this. And I didn't look like this back then. These guys, we all looked like we just walked out of a David Mann painting. We were hair bags, KD glasses and whiskers and everything, wearing our jackets. We weren't wearing cuts because we got there in a truck. We didn't ride there. We had this little truck there. And we stone-faced walked out with that sheet with Bob's in it. And I heard a couple of women were the only one that said anything. Is that a body? And we walked over and threw him in the truck. A bunch of us jumped to the back of the truck, and some jumped in it and fired up the truck. And it just took like a minute. That was all. And before we drove out, I looked back there at the pool, and it was totally vacant. There were sunglasses and towels laying everywhere. There wasn't a soul to be found anywhere. Yeah, I thought it was funny. And they treated my friend a lot better after that. He never had any trouble. The police never came. I don't know. Nobody said anything. Maybe they were smart cops, and they figured, these guys are pulling a hoax or a prank. Maybe nobody called the cops. I don't know. There were some people terrified. They had a lot more respect for my friend, for good or for ill. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just, that's what we did. I have to admit, it was funny, if nothing else. You might think I'm a monster for engaging in something like that, but I had a lot of such experiences, and I don't quite know what to think of them. I know what to think about what I saw, the reaction. Interesting. Please comment on it if you want to. You know, it'd be interesting to see what different people, different perspectives think. I've told this story to electricians and magistrates and cops and ex-military people, and they thought it was freaking hilarious. So I don't know. What do you think? What's your background? What's your take on it? I At that time I was dating a girl who was a psychiatrist, and well, she never made any comments on that kind of stuff, but you know, it was interesting. What kind of psychiatrist would date an outlaw biker? She was pretty fine, actually. Very smart girl, and good hearted. Anyway, I'm just rambling now, so I'll shut this off. Just a nice little short story. I got a million of them. I could do this for years. Uncle Bill D signing out.